Hey guys, this is Fishing with Phelan, and I'm your host, Nathan Phelan. So today we're talking about fall fishing, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what happened today and what I found out when I was fishing. So I was pretty much targeting largemouth and smallmouth just because that's what we have up here in Minnesota. And so I was fishing on the river a little bit and fishing little creeks, ponds, and lakes for the largemouth. So today was a fairly slow day fishing wise, honestly. As especially with the fall weather, it's really kicking in up here. So today, I think the weather was probably like mid 60s, probably average wind of 5 to 10 with gusts anywhere from 15 to 20, 25 maybe. And it was a pretty cool day. And it, this is when fishing is supposed to be amping up and throwing some reaction baits, and you're getting good bites on cranks, spinner baits, stuff like that. Um, it wasn't really the case, at least I found out. It was a fairly slow bite for me, and I kind of want to take you through kind of like my thought process and what I was doing and why, because I think a lot of times we get so caught up and we're just like fishing, I guess, normal patterns or patterns that we believe that should work during these times, and then kind of like breaking down the idea of, hey, maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I need to go more finesse or switch up my baits, because just because this is the pattern that they're supposed to be on doesn't mean they're going to be on it, right? So today, let's start with the river fishing that I was doing. I was throwing a 5/8 black and blue jig with a craw on the back and kind of dragging that around and slow reeling it, hoping for a smallmouth bite, and I just never found that. I never could materialize it. Um, it's been kind of tough. The river system has been weird, and it's been difficult for me actually this summer catching smallmouth consistently. So going forward, it was like it's it's something that I kind of want to break down a little bit more and try to analyze on where the fish are and what what caused them to move in the area that I'm fishing on the Mississippi up here in Minnesota. So, but that's a different video, and that's going to take a little bit more time to figure out. If I can figure it out, maybe I'll have to throw a jerk bait, something shallow. Um, yeah, it's been a weird bite, but the largemouth today, that was interesting because everything that I was doing was shallow. I mean, and I was throwing a Texas rig tube. Um, it was just something I'd seen a lot in videos, people talking about it and like how great of a flipping bait it is, or even even Texas rigged with like a little 3/8 half ounce weight. It was just perfect for today. And that's where I got all my bites on, honestly. It was kind of weird because I wasn't expecting to go out there and find fish, honestly. The weather's kind of changed drastically this week. It was earlier this week, it was like mid 70s. It was nice. And then as the week has gone on, the temperature's dropped. It's like mid 60s right now. I think tomorrow's supposed to be like high 70s again. But next, I think Monday is going to be like high of 54, and that's like big change for the fish. And it's just like, holy buckets. So everything's kind of changing quick now, and I'm still trying to break it down and understand what's happening. I watch a lot of videos from like Tactical Bassin, Wired to Fish, and other channels, and just try to understand what's happening. I'm a bank angler, as I said before. I don't do a whole lot from a boat. Yeah, Minnesotans say boat funny. It's different. It's not the same way as everyone else. But so today like I said, I was slipping a tube around brush cover and everything's shallow. And I had three good bites and then that I missed, honestly, because, well, either the fish didn't have it all the way it's in its mouth, or my drag was loose. Man, that goes back to testing your equipment and make sure it's ready to go. So the first place I stopped, it's a little creek system that feeds into a lake, and it's over kind of north of like Shoreview area in Minnesota, and had one solid bite there. And I flipped in underneath some trees that were just kind of overhanging the water with my tube, and I could feel weight. I thought I saw my line swimming away, and so I went and set the hook, and nothing. Ended up whiffing on it completely. Yet the tube was pulled down around the hook, and like the little tentacles that come off the tube were all just kind of everywhere, and I was just like, all right, well, that's cool. So kind of walked up and down the bank, flipping along deep pockets or under cover, trying to find fish that were shallow, and I only wound up with that bite. So, and then a few casts later, I actually broke off. I was running a 16-pound fluorocarbon leader. I should have checked my line, but it was pretty well frayed up, and so I'm thinking that's what caused the break off. And I always run braid to leader or straight braid. I don't run a whole lot of straight fluorocarbon just because I don't like the way it feels. I just don't like it straight unless I'm around heavy cover, docks, or wood or in rocks, just because that's my preference. I'm always a braid guy. I like braid to leader. I tie a pretty good FG knot. I've only had it fail a couple different times, and other than that, it stays pretty tight. And I can lock down my drag and hit them hard, and I don't seem to have any problems with the FG. So from there, I moved to a different lake in Roseville, and again, fishing shallow trying to get under cover, under brush, overhanging brush or trees, and that's where my bites came again from. I didn't spend a whole lot of time picking apart lakes. I was just kind of going to spots that I knew that were high percentage, and I'd caught fish before, and the fish typically around these spots average right around 2.5 pounds. So nothing big, but it would be a good day. So I started flipping around this lake in Roseville, and it was probably my fourth or, no, not my fourth, excuse me, probably my 10th cast, like 10th flip in there. I had changed angles and I got bit. And when I went to swing, the fish must have had just like the back of the tube, and it was just pulled down around the hook, and it was a mess. I was like, son of a gun. Because I could feel the line moving away, and I was like, and it felt like a good fish. There was weight to it. Everything was there. I could feel the bite and the pickup, and the fish was holding it. So I was like, sweet, this is it. Go to set the hook, and nothing. And not only that, but my drag was loose on that one. That's what really set me off. I was like, holy cow. And I was upset. Well, not really upset, but just frustrated that I forgot to test my drag. And then probably like a half a dozen maybe or so casts later, got bit again. I think it was a smaller bass or something, maybe a pike. There's pike in that lake. They're fairly common up here in Minnesota. And just, I didn't set the hook. So, I'm throwing a striking tube, and I'm targeting pretty shallow cover and shallow areas. So probably like 10, 15 minutes later, I flip in again, and bang, I get a bite. Set the hook, just a little squeaker, no big deal, but it it had proved my theory that the fish wanted something slow. I'd been throwing a spinnerbait around. It was probably a little big and a little fast for what today needed. The spinnerbait's on a 7.3 to 1 gear ratio and a little bit stouter rod with 20-pound fluorocarbon. That's kind of what I like to run on my spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, and bigger swim jigs. Just because we have so many big pike up here, or muskie even, I don't know. I just feel like I have better odds if I tie into one of them to landing them. So, but still, my point is, I still got bit, and a lot of guys will go down to like ultra finesse or like drop shot Ned rigs, and that's fine because that's the point of fishing, is getting bit. And also finding out what works too, because right, the bass are feeding. They're in this weird transition. It's getting colder, especially up here in the north where we're getting into the 40s maybe at night now, and the water temp's going to be really cooling down. And I thought today would be the optimum point of throwing a spinnerbait, because you had chop on the water, you had sun, cooler temperatures. So I thought that flash and that shine from the spinnerbait would actually bring the fish in, and it didn't. So I cut off my 10-inch worm and I put a jig on, a Texas rig on, a Texas rig tube. And I started flipping with that, and that's what got me bit today. It was a cool process because I actually saw, like start to finish, I actually saw what worked and how it played out. And I think, a lot of people are throwing like cross style baits or creature baits. And I mean, the tube is a cross style bait, but it's got a different profile. It hides the hook well. It's got the appendages coming off the back end, or the tentacles, whatever you want to call it. And so it's just kind of unassuming and just a little bit less abrasive when you're flipping or dragging a Texas rig around and you're trying to get bit on on high pressured lakes or fish that are kind of sensitive. So I was throwing that on my Daiwa Tatula Elite 7.3 Brent Ayler multi-purpose rod with my Tatula SE 7.3 to 1, 50-pound Suffix 832 to 16-pound Sunline FC Sniper. That's kind of my go-to line for fluorocarbon, is that FC Sniper. I really like that stuff. It's consistent, comes off the line, comes off the reel well, goes through the guides well, even the micro guides, even when I go between a blood knot and an FG knot. So my spinnerbait, I was throwing that on my Megabass Tour Versatile. That was my Zillion 7.3 to 1 20-pound FC Sniper, and or what was it, a River to Sea Bling Lemonade, kind of white and chartreuse, and I've had good luck on that, but nothing today. So not even a pike, which was surprising, because usually when the pike see that big spinnerbait coming through the water, they just smash it, and that's always fun. I don't much like handling the pike, but it's still fun catching them. Yeah. Tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out. I've got a lot of plans for the day. These videos are kind of new, and it's more of a breakdown of what I am doing and what's working and what's not. And I'm hoping this helps other people grow as I grow too. All right, guys, have a good night and good luck out on the water. Bye.